Welcome to tonight's National Ayurvedic Medical Association seminars in Ayurveda. These seminars are free 60-minute monthly webinars hosted fourth Monday of every month, January through October. One praise credit is available for those needing to maintain their Ayurvedic board certification. If you've entered your member number into the Zoom registration when you enroll and stay on the entire call, your praise credit will automatically be applied to your account. For everybody that's watching this live. These seminars are presented for informational purpose only and are not intended to provide or be substitute for medical advice, diagnosis, treatment, or even prescribing. No one should disregard or delay seeking medical advice because of any information provided through a webinar or a seminar. The mention of any product or service during any seminar is not intended to indicate that or imply that NAMA recommends, endorses, supports, sponsors, or supports in any way or is affiliated or even associated with the product or the service. These opinions expressed in the seminar are solely our presenters or speakers' own and do not reflect the views of NAMA. Let me introduce tonight's seminar topic. It's digital detox for your eyes through Ayurvedic lens. So our speaker tonight is Seva Van Vai, and we all know who she is. She is a passionate and perpetual student of Ayurveda and higher learning for 25 years. She runs a successful Ayurvedic lifestyle consulting practice involving Ayurvedic body therapies as her special niche. Seva is a retired midwife, a holistic educator, Ayurvedic body therapy instructor, and has held staff positions at the Chopra Center, Optimum Health Institute, and California College of Ayurveda. She is the author of the Ayurvedic Spa Therapy Manual, Dough Basti Manual, and the founder of Seva Ayurveda Academy, where she offers certifications in Ayurvedic bodywork technician and Marma therapy. I will post her website in the chat, but let me hand it over to Seva. Thank you so much, Seva, for joining us today.
You. Thank you all for being here. Okay. Namaste. Thank you, Pradeepa, for your beautiful introduction. Thank you all for joining. And I'm really excited to teach you this self-care practice that I have been implementing in my own daily life. The more I work on computers, before I was just a therapist for a full-time job and never worked on a computer. And now it's flipped. And now that I'm running a school and trainings and teaching and working for NAMA, it's just turned into a digital world for me. So I've created my own type of self-care for my eyes in this way. And so I'd like to share that with you. So eyes, they're one of our 5 sensory motor organs, and they are how we experience life, right? Through our organs, our sense organs. And this experience is physical, but it goes beyond the physical. So when you're not just caring for your eyes, we're not just caring for them to help us physically see, but we're also, helping us to be even a seer beyond physical, a seer of truth, if you will. So the subdosha connected to the eye is alachak pitta. So it's a subdosha of pitta. And pitta represents the fire or the agni in our body. And so you can say alachak pitta is like alachak agni. That would be what it is. And so it's a fire, and it's a heat that's happening in our eye. Eyes, you could say, are one of the seats of fire. So drishti, or eyesight, is the seat of alachak pitta, and drishti means vision, and that vision is what enables us to see things around us and perceive them in the right way, like the accurate way. And this perception of thinking and feeling happens in the eye. So what we see, our perception gets transformed through the pitta into a feeling and a thought process, so that we can create a whole perception of what it is that we're seeing. And Alachak Pitta resides in all the parts of the eye. So you can see in the slide, it's just right there in all the parts of the eye. And, excuse me, and it supports our ability to perceive physical objects and transform them into images. So eyes are, a really important sense organ for experiencing and understanding our experiences, what we see and how we see it. So even though we're talking about a physical organ, the purpose of it extends to the spiritual. Because in Ayurveda, we actually have 5 bodies, right? We have these 5 koshas, which are the 5 sheaths or layers of our bodies, and they're the physical eyes and our spiritual eyes. So I once had this client that I was doing body work on, and on her back, she had this tattoo, and it said, "I close my eyes so that I can see." And I just always remembered this because of the imagery that came to my mind of being in meditation and just realizing how much more do I see when I actually do close my eyes. And just even when I teach like Abhyanga to my students after we learn the protocol, I ask them to do the Abhyanga massage blindfolded on maybe on the back and the arms or the feet. And it's just such a powerful exercise to really feel the body through and see the body through our inner perception. So you can practice with ways of seeing things with your eyes closed. It just takes everything to a whole new level of perception. And so physically, when we're staring into the screen, we're working on our computers, we're looking at our phones, we have iPads, whatever devices we are using, because we're intently looking into those screens, this means we blink up to 60% less than we normally would. So we're losing moisture by not blinking. So this blinking causes a contraction into the tear ducts and the glands in the eyes that produce moisture. And so when we're not blinking as much as we normally would, then these glands and tear ducts will atrophy. And then our eyes begin to dry out. And then we get excessive dryness and depletion. So anytime you have a problem in your eyes, there's also this depletion issue. And it may start with just maybe a feeling of dryness here and there, and then it could turn into a more chronic dryness. So eventually you'll have this eye strain, and then vata will get involved, and maybe your eyes will start twitching and, kind of get some cramping and just aching. So you want to really hydrate from the inside and oleate from the outside to restore moisture and replenish the depletion by doing some purification and tonification for our precious eyes. They are the most used muscle in our body, from what I've learned. Anybody can correct me if I'm wrong, but from what I've learned, they're the most used because even when we're sleeping, we have the REM sleep. If we achieve REM sleep, then our eyes are moving and working. And so they're getting used more and more and more in our modern society, and even as we're sleeping. So here's some simple remedies for hydrating and prevention from the inside. So starting your day with 2 to 4 cups of warm water on an empty stomach, this really hydrates and wakes up all the organs. And we do want warm water, right? Because if you imagine pouring cold water, like on a piece of leather, so a dense tissue, the cold water is just going to roll right off. But if it's warm, then it will soak in and permeate. And that's kind of what happens in our visceral tissues. We haven't had any liquids all night. We've been sleeping for so many hours, and we're kind of dehydrated. You could think of yourself when you wake up in the morning as a little bit dehydrated. And so you want the warm, and you want it to be a nice pure water. And then throughout the day, start the morning off with a nice amount, a good amount of water, and then throughout the day, sipping on warm water. So it's the sipping that helps everything permeate and it doesn't just run right through you. But then every 20 minutes, that's when you would sip maybe 20 milliliters. So you can even do like a measuring thing just to see how you're going along. So to every 20 minutes, sip 20 milliliters of warm water. And then for kind of exterior hydration, we would get like maybe a rose water spray. And I just spray it like, honestly, like literally just directly in my eyeballs and on my face, because it's not just your eyeballs getting dry and everything, it's your face too, right? Your skin. So I always have this handy, like right next to my desk everywhere I go, actually, because I have a dry pitta skin. And so I'm just constantly needing that. And then to protect your eyes, preventative, I got these like on Amazon, I think. And it's just, you wouldn't even know, but these are blue light protective glasses. And they actually do help me see the screen a little bit better, funny enough. So invest in some of these, especially at night. If you work on the computer at night, which hopefully you don't do too often, but we all do sometimes, then try using those glasses. It really does take a lot of pressure off the eyeballs. Okay, so this purification and this tonification, let's talk about purification with the neti pot. So neti, N-E-T-I, this can mean third eye or one eye, and netra means two eyes, netra basti. And it means leadership and it means to guide. So it's really about using your eyes and your mind together. And that brings together your pituitary and your hypothalamus, and then it connects to your limbic brain, which is where we store all our memories and everything that is brain related, because everything we remember, we usually have some level of vision around it. So the neti pot, well, you could call it the third eye pot, because I'll share this commentary from the Hatha Yoga Pradipika, where Swami Muktabodhananda Saraswati writes, the practice of neti induces a state of harmony and balance throughout the entire central nervous system and the systems governing the respiratory, circulatory, digestive, and excretory functions. The frontal lobes of the cerebrum are responsible for the higher mental faculties and begin to function optimally. Integration of the higher mental faculties leads to genius, intuition, creativity, and so on. And on a more esoteric note, he adds, perfection of neti leads to divya drishti. Divya means divine, and drishtya is sight or vision. Divya drishti is the faculty of clairvoyance, which manifests with the awakening of the ajna chakra, third eye point. And it is a faculty of the higher intuitive mind. So the practice of neti is to stimulate ajna chakra, remove its blockages, and bring it into fuller functioning. So I just think those are really beautiful passages. And I know they might sound kind of like lofty things, but I believe the yogis want us to just try it and see it for ourselves. But there's a lot of things about neti pot that I just think people aren't considering. Like they just see this irrigation process and they're like kind of apprehensive about doing that, or like even putting anything in their eyes, right? But it just takes kind of digging into the deeper purposes behind these things, because we all know that in Ayurveda, there's just always a very profound, special purpose for everything. And there's, so many benefits that go deep beyond the physical into our spiritual, emotional, and so on. So it's good to consider like what we're really doing when we're doing a neti. And we know it clears the sinuses really well. It clears congestion. And I give it all kinds of props for like upper lymph care. And it can be used for calming down even the pituitary and hypothalamus. So it runs, and those are glands in the limbic system. So it runs right through your third eye. You position it in the nostril, and then it comes up, running right through the third eye. And then really, if we're starting from our left side, then it's running right from the masculine into the feminine and uniting them. Just like if you're doing alternate nostril breathing, we're doing alternate nostril irrigating. So you can start on either side. You can have the feminine feed the masculine and vice versa, like however you need it. So connecting our glands and clearing the physical and energetic channels here. And so it's like then you get your masculine and your feminine working together as a unit. And now you feel like kind of balanced, right? So, or that's the goal. So let me just talk a couple more things about the neti pot. And because sometimes people say, oh, I tried it and then it goes down my throat and it won't come out my nostril, or it's sometimes like more confusing than you think it's going to be. So you actually have to completely relax your upper channels and breathe through your mouth. And this breathing through the mouth and consciously, intentionally relaxing the upper channels is going to cause your upper sinuses to relax. And that's, maybe that's why, people aren't getting it through, is because they're not relaxed. And that's a big one. So you're just going to actually just fix it into your nostril and just get a good tilt. And for gravity, sometimes you're going to have to find your tilt, and people have to kind of find it, and then you'll know it. And you're just going to go and just slowly start moving through it. And what I want to mention is what you would put into the formula. So salts is what we use. So we use a salt water solution to make kind of like a saline, but it's going to be strong enough to be cleansing. So what I've learned from my teachers is to use gray salt. You could use Celtic salt. You could use even Peruvian salt, like a pink salt, which is a beautiful salt that you can get. And then there's the Himalayan pink salt. And I think a lot of people default to the Himalayan pink salt because it's just there and we think it's really good for us. And it is. But it's a very cleansing salt. And it is very good for congestion. It's a very strong cleansing salt, and it has a pink of chloride. So it's going to be really good when you want to cleanse your gut or when you're sick and you're congested. But it's a controversial salt. Like, I think there's some sustainability issues going on with the Himalayan pink salt. So anyways, it does actually cause a lot of burning in the nostril. So if Himalayan pink salt is the only salt that you have, and it's causing a burning in you or your client, then you can add a little baking soda. Adding a little baking soda will take that burn away. But ideally, you just want to use a really gentle salt, Celtic salt, gray salt, you can add a little bit more, and it's not going to cause that burning and sensation. So, and it's also, very affordable. And so yeah, so then you're like, well, why are we doing the neti pot for eye care? Well, you want to use it for clearing congestion, because the radiation doesn't just emit heat to your eyes, like I mentioned, but also to your skin and your nose. And this can create a pressure around the 12 cranial nerves, right? And create this pressure. And then the tear ducts get really affected by this pressure. And they're usually really, this can cause like a congestion of pressure. So keeping the sinuses clear of congestion and from your upper channels, it relieves this pressure. And in general, the moment you're feeling pressure in your eyes, if you're working on the screen and you're feeling pressure on your eyes, if you're watching something, anything, then put on the glasses, hydrate your eyes, or just walk away. Even with the 20 minutes, just every 20 minutes, avert your eyes to another area of the room. spray your eyes, put some eye drop, like whatever, just give your eyes lots of little breaks, lots of little breaks. So the next thing, so when we use neti pot is water and salt. Salt is going to be drying, right? And so it irrigates the sinuses, and this can cause dryness. So I'm not saying do neti pot every day. I'm just saying use it as needed and understand these really amazing benefits of it so that you'll know when you need it and how to implement it for your dinacharya. So, maybe just once a week for maintenance, for this whole like cleansing process for our own body and our own self-care. But then, so you would want to just wait until your sinuses have dried out after you've done the neti pot. Usually like 30 minutes to an hour, I would wait and let everything dry out so that you can apply the oil. And you can either, totally just sniff them up your nose, laying back on a chair or a bed, and really just bring it in up into all of this and clear the channels, nourish the channels. And, Nasya oil's got really lovely things in it. I have Nasya from Banyan, and I really do like this. I really do like Dr. Laud's Nasya oil as well. It's very comparable as far as ingredients. But the reason I like this is because it has skullcap, it has calamus, brahmi, gotukola, which are good nervines, and they help cognitive function. So you're not only taking care of your sinuses and clearing all of this, but you're supporting your brain function. You're nourishing and oleating all the sinus tissue while getting the benefits of the herbs inside. So Nasya is a really good practice to do, and you could do this safely every day. Neti pot I wouldn't do every day unless I was super duper congested and it was indicated, and even if you need some practitioner guidance for that. Nasya every day, no problem. Highly recommend. Okay, so now let's just talk about castor oil. This is basically giving our eyes a netra abhyanga. So you're doing oleation of the eyes and you're lubricating your eyes. And it's really brilliant for people who like literally have really dry eyes. And I've gotten people off of the artificial tears, like the Visine type of drops, just by taking castor, just one drop in the eye at night, and I know it's goopy and it's thick. So I just do like one drop. I just do a drop, and then you can just kind of massage it in, and it actually just feels so soothing, so relaxing. And this will help to actually, oleating this will help to calm down all those 12 cranial nerves. And it can actually help with sleeping better too, because when we're oleating our eyes, then the oil, right? So oil is the antidote to vata, excess vata. And it is the best thing to pacify the nervous system. And so when we put oil in the eye and we're oleating the eye, then the oil saturates and actually nourishes the nervous system, pacifies the nervous system through the optic nerve. So this is why it can help with sleep. It can help with migraines. It can help with all those things that maybe there might be too much tension up here from the eye strain and the not blinking enough and dehydrating and depletion and all of that. So we're rejuvenating this. We're rejuvenating the nervous system. We're helping our minds calm down and pacify vata through this. And applying it consistently is also going to start helping with even trigeminal nerves that run through this and calm those down. So it has all kinds of beautiful, benefits, and even calming down the pituitary. So this is all good things to do to go to sleep. But the beauty of castor oil is it's incredibly good at going in and breaking up any irregularities in the tissues of your eyeball. So think about your eyeball as a tissue, and then you're going to put that castor oil there, and it lubricates and nourishes. And so I just, you can have like a little dropper bottle, put some castor oil in it. It doesn't have to be warm. You could warm it up a little bit. And then you just, one drop in each eye, or you can just put it on your pinky and just really rub it in there. So we're putting this in the eye, nourishing and lubricating, but it makes sure that you're not getting any film built up on your eye tissue. You're not building up like floaters and which are like sediment that's trapped in your eyeball tissue. So this oleation goes both ways. Not only does it extract things that shouldn't be there, but it saturates and nourishes and pacifies and protects. So it really effectively clears the eyes. And you'll be getting compliments like, oh my goodness, your eyes are so white. The whites of your eyes are really white and bright. And people have told me that. And I'm like, thank you. Like they'll be like, oh, your eyes are so clear. And I'm like, well, I'm not that clear. I mean, I'm human. I mean, I'm pretty good and clear, but I just think it's the castor because it makes them shiny. The oil just makes them shiny and glowy and does really clear up the tissue and heals them. And so sometimes clients too, they'll be like, I know I'm here for my digestion, but can we do something about like this tissue building up on my eye? And I'm like, yeah, castor oil every single night. And what it does is it just goes in and it breaks down that little bit of tissue, like buildup. And maybe it's even a scar tissue. So people who work out in the sun all day long are like surfers, people who are constantly like, I know people wear sunglasses a lot, but if you happen to be in the sun a lot, working outdoors, then you can get these like tissue buildups on the eye. And I don't know if you've ever seen anybody with that, but it's like, there's like this little glob of tissue sediment or something on the eye tissue. And it's kind of like a scar tissue type of thing. So that's what castor oil is really good at, is breaking down scar tissue as well. So anything that's like growing on the eye or building up on the eye, it'll just remove it. And one day it might even just wipe right off of there, because I've heard of that happening. So castor oil, it's really, really effective for healing the eyes for many different types of eye issues. So then if castor oil doesn't work for you, I know it's really sticky, it's really goopy. And, if you're apprehensive about using castor, then we can use ghee. And ghee is beautiful, amazing, wonderful to put in the eyes. And I have a little bit of ghee, and I'll just stick my finger in there and rub it in my eye, and it just melts right in and really oleates. And it's like, for real, like a real eye netra abhyanga, and you just massage the eyeball. It just feels amazing. If you've never tried it, you just must. So you can do this with ghee, and I would give people an option. Ghee is going to be more cooling, and castor is more warming. So maybe there are indications where you would need a cooling oleation, because when we are working with a lot of heat, or taking in a lot of heat from screens and devices, then we do need maybe something more cooling. So just kind of play with it and see what you need. But for castor, for more advanced symptoms, all the way. And then I know I mentioned drops and rubbing it in the eyes, but if you wanted to give yourself a little eye bath and a little netra basti for yourself, then these little eye cups are wonderful for that. You can pour some melted ghee in there, or some, warm castor oil, maybe 2/3 the way, or a little more than half the way. And then this contour of it, really does seal around the eyeball really, really well. Even with like a liquidy thing, it's very, very well. So you're just going to, put your eye right onto it, and then you'll put your head back. And once you put your head back, you're going to open your eye while you're pressing in, and it creates a nice suction. And then you can just move your eyeball around in there and do eye exercises, semicircles, back and forth, round and round, like play with it, do it. And then, clear that out, fill it up again, and do the other eye. So this is really fun to do a little eye bath for yourself if you want to go big with it. If you want to do, so when I tell people, my clients, who have dry eye issues, nothing advanced, they're just like, I just want some relief. I say, okay, castor oil in the night, ghee in the night, and in the morning, it absorbs pretty good. And especially if you just keep massaging it in. And when I wake up in the morning, I'm not like, oh my gosh, I'm blurry, I can't see. No, I don't even notice it. But some people do. And so what you can do is do a nice little eye wash. And same thing, you would make your eye wash and put it in the little cup and throw your head back, wash the eye out. And you can even do a little eye wash throughout the day if that helps you. And if you wanted to do something medicinal, then you could do triphala or marshmallow root. And I would just soak a quarter teaspoon in a couple ounces of water overnight. Strain out all the sediment with a cheesecloth. We don't want any particles floating around in there at all. You do want to have, make sure you're making a safe solution here. Or you can do 1 part of rose water, and I really like this Heritage Store brand. I'm sure there's more. I know Divya. If you know Divya Alter, she has Bulgarian rose water that she made from her mom's rose farm in Bulgaria. And she just has it right now, like a limited supply. So I'm waiting for that, but I'm really excited about that. And if you all know of a more pure or more whatever kind of brand, I use this for all kinds of things. So it's just the brand, the only one I know of. So 1 part rose water, 1 part distilled water, and you just add it to the eye cup, kind of dilute the rose water a little bit. But if you want to make eye drops, then get some saline solution and add it to rose water. So 1 part rose water, 1 part saline solution, and then you can make your own eye drops and then place them into your eyes this way. The only other Ayurvedic brand eye drops I found is the Chandika brand, and it's called Soma Netra Drops with organic rose. So the Chandika brand, it is really lovely drops. And a little bit goes a long way. So you can make your own, you can get Chandika brand, and you can even make a medicinal tea. You could use eye bright. You could use eye bright with ghee. You could infuse ghee with eye bright tea, or even the marshmallow and the triphala. Depending on what's going on with the eye, you just definitely want to get a good recommendation from a practitioner. But these are just some things I've used and go to and I have a lot of success with. So then the Netrabasti. So this is for your clients, right? If you refer them to get a Netrabasti, then, this would be the way, like if people aren't willing to put things in their eyes by themselves and they're really apprehensive about it. I know it's a very vulnerable area. It's kind of scary. Even when, I'm talking to people about Netrabasti, they're like, oh my gosh, is that person's eye open? Like, is that it? Like you just open your eye and I'm like, yeah, because it just feels amazing. It's so soothing. And one of my favorite feedback memories is when the client came out and she's like, my eyes feel like new people. And she articulated exactly how I felt, because it's hard to articulate the sensation that you feel after a Netrabasti. It's like, it literally is my favorite Ayurvedic treatment because of how much we use our eye. I do have dry eyes and I do feel that kind of all the time. And so when I had a Netrabasti, I was just like, when she said that, I was like, that's exactly how I felt. They felt like new people. And I felt so much, and you know how, oils are like lipids, they're fats, and fats bring comfort. And that's how my eyes felt. They felt comforted. They felt like, sneha means oil, and oil, there's a proverb, right? So sneha means oil, but it also means maternal love and affection and comfort, like a warm blanket or like a hug from your mother, you know. And so the proverb is oil to your body is like love to your soul. And that's exactly how I felt. I just felt that like comfort, like if a mother was just giving me comfort and loving me and hugging me, and but not me, but like my eyes, you know, and it's just such a beautiful, warm, fuzzy feeling. So highly, highly recommend you getting one if you've never had one. And if your clients, you know, have any issues in the eye, recommend Netrabasti. It's such a beautiful, potent therapy, not just for the eyes, but like I said, it really saturates into the eye tissue, really saturates into the nervous system via the olfactory nerve, and people will feel, you know, more pacified, like they'll feel their nervous system really coming into rest and digest. And it's just beautiful, as all Ayurvedic treatments are. And I really love giving them, and I love receiving them, and I really love teaching them because it's super fun to make those little things. Okay, so I think we have a few minutes left, so I want to come back to like some spiritual components of eye care, and I want to talk about Tritak. And Tritak is a candle gazing meditation, and this candle, it's best to use a ghee candle if you can find one. I make my own. It's actually very easy to make a ghee candle. You can use ghee, and you can just make a ghee lamp just with ghee and a little cotton, and just light it up and you have a little ghee lamp. Or you can actually make a ghee candle. You can probably find ghee candles to buy. So the ghee, right, it's cooling. So that's part of it. But if you can't find ghee, no worries, because you're still looking at a candle, and you're looking at the candle, you're setting your intention, and actually Tritak, traditionally you would want to be doing it maybe for sunrise, staring at that first light, the sunrise. It's very, very healing for the eyes, just like a Tritak meditation, and even looking into the sunrise as part of a dinacharya, this actually helps to set our circadian rhythm as well. But Tritak, so it's a meditation, but it's also an eye exercise, and it's a lot of things. But traditionally, you know, putting the candle at eye level, and you're going to just set your intention. You're going to light your candle, and you're going to close your eyes and take a deep, expansive inhale, lifting the spine and really breathing into the root chakra, really getting rooted in your sits bones, lifting the spine, taking a big deep breath. And then when you open your eyes, you stare into the blue part of the candle, right at the bottom of the flame there. It's the safest place in that fire is that cooling blue light. And you just stare at it and keep looking, and you might find that your eyes, so try not to blink because you're just going to stare. And then you should hopefully start to feel your eyes start to water, and the moisture start to get drawn out. And that's what you want. That's what you want to feel. But you might get a little blurry, and then you start blinking, and that's totally fine. Just keep looking. And then as soon as you kind of can't, or you just can't focus, then you can close your eyes, and you'll see that flame literally right on the third eye area, and it'll float away, but then you can just kind of bring it back. And it'll float away, but then you bring it back, and then it'll fade, and you can't see it in your mind's eye anymore. So you're just going to stare at the flame again, and you're going to look at it and gaze at it as long as you can. And then when you can't anymore, you just take back you go back into the inward mode and hold it as long as you can until you can't anymore. And then you open your eyes back up, and you just repeat, and you go through this. And I feel like 5 minutes really gives me a lot, but I've gotten in such a, you know, meditative zone with the bringing the flame back and all of this, and really my intention and everything. And I've gotten in such a zone where I'm like, oh my gosh, there was 15 minutes later and I just did it for 15 minutes and stayed with my intention. So a really, really beautiful practice to talk. And it goes beyond, any of these benefits I can mention. It really helps with focus, helps with cognitive function. My Ayurvedic doctor friend recommends this for people who might have even nervous system disorders like seizures and such, like, because we're bringing a concentrated focus and a pacification to that. Do your research on that. I'm not making any claims. I'm just sharing with you what the successes of my colleagues. So, do we still have a little time, Pradeepa, or?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, okay. So then the final thing that I would like to share with you is some Marma points and some Marma self-care that you can do for your eyes. And then we can use lots of tools. So having little Marma tools is really nice. Fingers obviously work perfectly, but then we have tools, like we can have like a little Marma stick, and we have a fat end and a little teeny end, and the little teeny end is really nice for getting all around the eye points. And then there's all kinds of different tools you can get, but the point is just to have something that can help you stimulate your marmas. And one thing I really love is the Kanza wand, because not only do the metal alloy of it, stimulate the marma points when they come in contact with them, but the Kanza is like a cool metal. So it just feels so cooling and refreshing and relaxing. And you can do your whole face with this and really get into even like all of this area here that you might be feeling tension in from the eye strain from looking at devices or whatever's causing it. So this is really, really effective. Like, this is how you could take your little 20 breaks every 20 minutes. Just have, like, I have my little tool jar and I just pick one and spray my face, and then I do a bunch of this. And then so Hansa one is really great. I highly recommend that. But if we're just using hands, then we can really work with some amazing Marmas stuff here. So I know I just have like a few Marma points on my face here, but really on the top of the eyebrow and below the eyebrow, there's about 3. And then we've got the one, number 3, that's right on the outside of the eyeball, but it's actually right inside the orbital ridge. So that's where your finger would go. So here's the orbital ridge, here's my eyeball, and then there's this little depression right between them, and that's going to be my Apanga Marma. This one definitely helps to restore moisture to the eye. And then number 8, we've got Kaninaka, like right in the center. So if you don't want to be using your fingers, this is where you could have your tools. This one's got like a double, so I can stick that right there, or you can just do one at a time. And then going from there, the way you get all the marmas on the eyebrow is pinching. So you pinch your eyebrow and then just kind of cinch it along the top. And even kind of pulling up and just doing the kaninaka, going along the eyebrow, cinching along, or just little squeezes, little pumps. And when we do little pumps, this helps to drain the lymph, any kind of lymph congestion that might be happening there. And you can go along the bottom of the orbital iridge too. Just pressing here helps to relieve some pressure. And then that brings us to Shanka Marma, which is in the temple. And Shanka means conch. So that's kind of why it's named that. There's like this conch shell type of depression there in shape. And that's where I really love to put the Kanza on and just really go after that Shanka Marma. And this just like the fascia in your head just gets really wound up, not just in your head, right? All along the ridge of the occiput. And there are several Marma points there too. So right at the depression where the skull meets the neck. There's this depression there on that joint. So you can work with that, pressing there, lifting your head back and forth, and then extending one finger width out from that. We have bilateral points from there. And then we have all the Griva neck points that go all the way down the back of the neck. So you can use your claw fingers and just work on your neck up and down. You can take your Kanza wand, go up and down. Really, really effective, because we're not just getting tension in our face and our head, but we're getting it in our neck and our shoulders. And it's just kind of this ripple effect down into this upper part of our body. So, there's lots of marma points on there's actually, out of all the marma points in the body, 117 marma points, 1/3 of those are on just above the clavicle here. So that's a significant concentrated area of marma points. So you could just go after all of it and feel a lot of relief from that, even just along the midline here. We've got Kapala marma, and this is actually a really good marma for, if you're stressed about meeting deadlines, if you're like anxious about anything kind of work related, that's really great to do during your workday, holding Kapala marma, even the Ajna marma, and just working your way even all the way through the midline here, because we have this trinity. We've got Kapala, but then we've got Mridni, which is putting your thumbs at the tip of your ear, and then you let your middle fingers fall, and then you're right there on Mridni, which is also called Adipati. And this is just the master Maha Marma point that awakens the whole Marma system. And when we awaken the whole Marma system, we allow for pranic flow to occur. And when we allow for pranic flow to occur, then we feel relief, because Vata is prana, or it governs prana, and it helps move prana through the body. And when we're having obstructions, that's how we would feel pain and tension and things. So we want prana to flow freely. So we want to really be caring for ourselves and our marma points, and know what we have access to right there in the moment, right when you need it. We have so many tools for self-care and prevention with Ayurveda. I'm really grateful. So thank you for all of this, your time and your attention. Just reach out anytime if you have any questions. Thank you.
Hey, that was awesome. And that was a pretty picture of yours. We know who to call when we need another marma session, Seva.
All right, thank you. It was fun.
Okay, we have so many questions lined
Oh.
up from the beginning. I'll just start reading them in the order. I think they're asking, what chapter was the information in Pradipika? So I just found it. It's chapter 2. So I think this was when you mentioned that Neti was helpful. So that was in chapter 2, verse 30. So you can find that there.
That.
People are asking if they can access the slides.
Yes, so you can definitely access the slides. Let me see if I can put them into the chat while I'm answering questions. If not, then email me and I will send them to you, or they will be attached to the recording if you are a member and you have access to that. So.
Perfect.
Okay.
That sounds good. Okay, so next question, Kelly Shock, doesn't the guna dry vata quality? I think this is still about the Jalaneti. How can the organ eye compete with the liver, brain, and heart function? We can live without eyes, but not with the liver, brain, and heart. I think it's a two-part question. Let's start with, doesn't the guna dry vata quality for Neti? I think you answered that you want to follow it up with Nasya, and I think this question came before that.
Yeah.
I don't follow the second question. So Kelly, if you want to rephrase that and post it, we'll get to that question too. I'm trying to find questions from other folks. The same question, same person asked same things. Do you have Nathi oil recipe that you can share? Maybe that's Nasya oil that you're asking, Janet. If that's the case, I think you already mentioned Super Nasya oil, Dr. Lard, and then Banyan Botanical. Anything
Mhm.
else, Seva?
Well, you can just use sesame oil. You can use ghee. It's whatever it's going to help you balance whatever it is you're trying to balance. Understanding the qualities of oils. So we know ghee is cooling, castor is more warming, sesame is warming, coconut's cooling. So just understanding, and even in this banyan blend, they put a little olive oil in there. And I'm not sure why, but then they have eucalyptus too. So we've got this warming, but then we have this cooling effect from the eucalyptus. So it's actually pretty balancing. And that cooling from the eucalyptus feels amazing actually in the nose, and it opens up the respiratory. It helps you really take in more breath, even because you can find yourself sometimes while you're working, you're not breathing very well either. And so we want to even, help that. We want to be really aware of that while we're, because when we're not breathing, we're building up pressure in our bodies and in our prana, in our heads. So we gotta breathe. And Nasya helps us breathe, but so does neti.
Mhm. Thank you.
Yeah.
Again, more on the recipe for the saline solution. What portion of salt to water is the best
For the neti.
portion? Yes, for the neti, sorry.
Yeah. I've heard different things. What I've found for myself, it's kind of like this whole Ayurvedic concept, right? You've just got to find what works for you. For me, it's about a quarter teaspoon of salt to 1 cup of warm water, and you pour it in the neti pot and you dissolve it. And then, people will do it over the sink or whatever. I just do it in the shower. I just feel like that's pretty easy I'm working with water already, so I might as well just clear out irrigate my sinuses too. So that's what I do. I get it all ready. I take it in the shower and irrigate away.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Denise Wagner is asking, are you placing a drop of castor oil directly into your eyes or massaging the oil around the orbit?
Yes, it's directly into the eye, directly.
And you just leave it closed, because I think somebody was asking, how long do you leave it in your...
Oh, so that's why I say put it in right before you go to bed and massage your eye and then just go to sleep. And it'll saturate and it'll soak in. And when you wake up, it just feels like so soft and oleated. It feels really lovely. I do it all the time, all the time. And I did put the slides in the chat, so I hope you all have access to it. So that's what I do. And even, I've had colleagues tell me they'll do a naturoplasty with castor oil, like a full on
Wow.
bathing. But like, I don't know if I would ever recommend that. It seems intense.
Yeah.
Some people do intense things out there for different reasons. I really like the gentleness of the ghee, but so with just 1 drop of castor oil, it's just very effective. And we all know, castor oil just has a really strong ability, a really powerful ability to draw things out as well, and kind of help things dilate and open up. So opening up and relieving any of that strain. So just, experiment with it and see what it'll do for you. People do have a lot of fear about putting things in their eyes, and I get that, but we just have to gently kind of, and don't recommend something to your client that you haven't tried yourself. Like, I really recommend you try it yourself, kind of have an experience with it. And then you'll have that to share along with your recommendation.
Awesome. So that answered about multiple questions on the same thing. And okay, just a caveat for our participants here, please avoid posting any personal or treatment related questions. So whatever the speaker is, Seva is speaking today is more with her experience. So somebody was asking, should they get LASIK done, etc. So you can reach out to her on the website, and maybe, you can discuss that later.
Yeah, this was more of a self-care kind of theme. Like it can carry over into how you recommend things to your clients, but kind of the context of this was for you to learn how to have more self-care for you and share it with your community, because we are in this digital age where we do need to learn these tools.
Totally. Somebody anonymous was asking, please mention the brand name. So we don't know what it is. I think she mentioned rose water spray by one is Divya Altars and one is Heritage. I think
Heritage
that's
Force.
from Amazon. And then the Nasya oils we just already talked about. So we don't know what else you want. If you want, please repost the question.
The eye drops for Chandika. I can put that in the chat.
Oh, Chandika. Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you. Oh, yes. Please expand on the proportion for making a saline solution that you add to rose water.
Saline solution, like what you can use for contacts.
Oh, the saline solution. Okay.
Yeah.
I think this is from Karuna. They're also giving a response to question on your source, no contraindications for Nasya. Dr. Lord always taught that it's upward action, so no downward activities like intercourse, shower, food within hour, plus not during menstruation. So interested in your resources that says no contraindications for Nasya. So I think that was just something she shared, and I think, but if that's what I know, and
I wasn't in my trainings, I would definitely teach you contraindications for nausea and how to use them on clients. But for daily self-care, yes, you want to be mindful of the downward because it is going up. That's why I mentioned, wait about an hour to let the sinuses dry out after a shower. But if you are menstruating, pregnancy, any kind of thing where you need to care for your apana, then that is true. Yeah, you don't want to do it. You don't want to sniff it up, but that doesn't mean you can't put it on your finger and, massage your nostril with it and oleate your nostril. And I do that more than anything, but if I take a client for a nausea, they're not going to be on their cycle and they're not going to have any apana issues. So
totally, yes. So just for more information, we have two types of nasya. Like in Ayurveda, we have therapy, nasya therapy. That's what Seva was talking about, having a client in her office and she does it on them. But then this is something we do for self-care. Pratimarsha nasya is something they can do every day. How many minutes to look at the sunrise? What if the horizon is blocked by the buildings? Is it still helpful to look?
I know. It's still nice to be out in that morning light and absorbing the morning light into our cells. Our eyes are still getting it. That's the candle is a really good replacement for that morning light. It has the same effect.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Again, more questions is, well, maybe this one you can answer. Are all of those treatments safe for someone who had a cataract surgery and has intraocular lens? Is there any possibility of castor oil or ghee clouding the lens?
It might be possible. That's something you would definitely want to work with an Ayurvedic practitioner or doctor on, and getting guidance that way in person and understanding your health history and everything. The person who taught me about the castor oil for the eyes, she went more into depth, and she did say, it does help to bring moisture back into the eye, so that, some people are not eligible for a LASIK surgery or glaucoma surgery because their eyes are just too dry and there's not enough, fluid or liquid there to safely operate on the eye. And so to restore that moisture to a good enough level that the doctor feels safe to perform surgery on the eye, then she has found a lot of success prescribing, because they'll be like, I'm sorry, I can't give you that surgery. You're just not eligible. It's not working. And they kind of approach it like, oh, and there's nothing we can do about it, because so like when I was saying, those glands in the tear ducts, and I forget how you pronounce it, it's like mirabilis or something, in there. And when those glands get atrophied and we have dry eye syndrome, like people get this dry eye syndrome. And when those glands are so depleted at that point, you know, the Western medicine says there's no reversal for that. But what she has found is that using castor oil does help heal them and restore that moisture to the eyes. I'm not claiming it. I'm just sharing what she has passed on to me to help answer your question. But please do your research. If you want to send me an email, I can give you the information of the teacher who passed that on to me. And yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So I know we're at the top of the hour, but we do have lots of questions. This topic has been very interesting, and we'd like to stay on for a few more minutes to get some of these, most of them, at least the ones that are related to what Seva has presented. On the eye wash slide, you have included both triphala and marshmallow root as options. Can you differentiate between the two?
Yeah. Marshmallow is a demulcent, so it helps to restore moisture. And then triphala is like a medicinal, and it's something that helps to restore the eye tissue. It helps to restore vision. So when people are losing their vision, and this can happen from eye strain and from dryness, right? Dryness will cause anything to stop working. So you know, and there's lots of other kinds of teas we can use safely. One thing I didn't mention that I just learned the other day is for drinking a tea to help with like cooling the eyes. And if you have inflammation in the eyes, rose water is very effective for inflammation in the eyes, for one. But if you want to like drink a tea, then maybe like 1 part rose water, rose powder, 1 part Purnanarva, 1 part licorice, and then 1 part marshmallow. So the licorice will help with the inflammation, and help with circulation around the eyes. Rose will help with the inflammation, and then the marshmallow helps with the moisture. So that's something you could drink, and it's actually quite lovely. Licorice is naturally sweet, and rose is kind of like a bittersweet, and then the marshmallow just kind of gives it some texture, some substance, and it's actually quite lovely.
Awesome. What are some signs that a person should stop using castor oil?
Well, castor oil is warming. So if the symptoms are being aggravated, then maybe switch to ghee and try a cooling. It would just have to be like, what's the source of the aggravation, and working with something else. You know, maybe we need to do, you know, just kind of teas and washes. Maybe the ghee's or the castor's too heavy, too hot, too sticky, too much, you know. It would just depend.
Okay. Would castor oil drop in the eye be helpful for scar tissue which formed on the exterior of client's eyelid after a pink eye? Is it better to use castor oil drop directly on the exterior skin? So yes. Okay. Perfect.
So you could even do an eye pack, you know, put the oils on your eyes, put something warm on it, like you would do a castor oil pack on any other part of your body. You could do it for your eyes as well. Just on the eye with a nice pack and just let it soak in that way. And that's lovely. Yeah.
that sounds good.
Yeah.
Okay. Carrie Cooper asks, are you saying use the blue light blocking glasses, especially at the night, because of the blue light can decrease the melatonin and sleep?
Absolutely. And the blue light's heating and it's drying. And then, you know, like I said about the faculties of our mind that help us go to sleep, and it's part of our sleep hygiene. So if you're going to try, you know, wear them at night is the best thing, just to block that. Yeah. They have
Awesome.
even orange ones, and they have all different kinds. But these just like, you know, they actually do kind of make the screen more easy to look at.
Mm-hmm. Quite a few people have been asking about the massaging tools. Are they available on Amazon, or do you have any
Yeah,
place?
this one is kind of funny. I just, gave into some Facebook thing that I saw and I was like, oh my gosh, that looks amazing because it's not only for Marma, like it has these points, but then you can do it on the head here. And then it has a 1 point thing, and then it has a gua sha
Oh, nice.
too. So I'm sorry I can't remember the brand. It was just kind of a one-off thing I found. I don't even know. I'm sure I got it shipped from the US. I just don't know where it was.
If you
So,
find it, maybe you may add it to the slides too. That'll be helpful. That
oh yeah, maybe I can do that. And then the Marma stick, I got this from Indu Aurora when I took her Marma, for yoga training. I had got that from her. I think she brings them over from India. And then, Kanza One, Kanza Organics, I love them. Ayurveda Experience, I've also gotten it from them. And those are the only two brands that I know of that I actually really trust. There is another one called Agya, Arogya. Wait, is that you? That's you. No,
I don't sell cancer ones, but that's
no,
I have
I
to read it right now.
know, but so at the NAMA conference, there was a really lovely uh exhibitor who Anag Global. Check them out because they have some of the most beautiful products I've ever seen. Like they have all kinds of sizes of Kanza wands, and then they have these oils and essential oils and attars that I've never seen anything like it. They even have a ghee nausea drops.
Ooh,
I've never seen those. So beautiful people, beautiful brand. I would definitely, so them plus Kanza Organics
yeah,
is a
I
great.
think I know Annika Global.
And Kanza Organics has hopper eye cups. And they
I
have little lids.
oh,
They're so cute. And I can't wait to get those. Yeah.
well, let's keep it covered. Otherwise, it's easy to
And
collect
they
dust.
can also do like a roller. I mean, these are always very cool and easy to use. But they're just not as powerful on the Marmas as the Kanza.
Mhm.
But they both, have their place.
Awesome. How long would you do the ghee eye bath, and how many times a week?
Like an eye bath, like a
That's the
natural.
question. Yes.
Um, well, if you're doing like a literal netra with the dough basti, I and then depending on the goal or the intention, if someone's just walking in and they're like wanting a netra, then probably 10 minutes on each side has been really effective. But sometimes people will leave it in for up to 20. If you did both eyes at the same time, sometimes people do that. I just do one eye at a time. But if you were doing them both, then that could be something where they could just lay there comfortably, for 20 minutes, soak it in. My teacher told me that your body cannot absorb anything past 48 minutes. So I'm not saying keep it in for 48 minutes, but I'm saying
Yeah,
there's no need to keep it in longer than that.
totally. For Netra Basti, do you use herbalized ghee?
You can.
Okay.
You can. Yeah, there's formulas I know of that incorporate triphala, chrysanthemum, eyebright. Um, that might be all that I know of actually. So yeah, you can incorporate those. You can infuse those really easily into, just really understand the synergistics and the kind of, I don't know if I'd put them all together or if maybe if I would just do an eyebright. If you're an herbalist and you understand how that all works, then there are formulas out there. There are like PK formulas for sure too, so depending on what you're just wanting to treat and the qualities you need and the effect you need, and then, but yeah, there are definitely safe ways to infuse it and then use it into the eyes that way.
Got it. Surendra Ahuja is asking what marma point for knee joint arthritis. Did you talk about any marma points for knee? No, I suppose, right?
No.
Okay, that's
Mm-mm.
fine. We can save that for a later discussion. Um, okay, so what is the recommendation for salt concentration for Neti? I think we talked about that. Would you put castor oil? Also, that we talked about. Oh, yeah. So Kelly is clarifying the question about most about the liver heart. So it was mentioned that eye is the most used organ. I think that was misleading. You can live without the heart, liver. You can live without the eye, but not heart, liver, and brain. I think
I'm not
that's
saying
what
it's the
you.
most used muscle in the body.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Not the organ, but I think I remember you said
It's a
muscle.
sense organ, but it's a muscle too. So that's what we're using is the muscular part.
A lot of you have been asking for chat, and that's disabled. Yes, it's disabled for you to post anything, but and the chat does have. I can see that the handout is added there. The slides are there. If you have logged in using a mobile phone or something, it may be difficult for you to find it. But if you have it using, if you're logged in using a computer or a laptop, you should definitely be seeing it because I'm able to see it. Um, I can repost it, but it's already there. And if now I have enabled chat for everybody, if anybody can confirm that you can access those slides, that'll be great. If not, you will be receiving that part of your, like at the end of the week, we will be adding recording with this handout. So you can also find them there. Um, I think we've done all of these brand name for Kansa wand. Seva, I have 3 netrabastis with ghee. Each one have burned my eyes terribly. As if to be allergic, I can consume ghee, but curious about what the rationale would be on this.
Yeah, it's not a normal response for it to be stinging. And if it doesn't calm down, then obviously stop the treatment. But it's not supposed to do that. So you would really want to get that checked out and see why that's happening. But it's really not. Ghee is so gentle that it really shouldn't be causing that. So there's got to be some other kind of issue that should really get looked into.
Okay. A couple of people have been asking, where do you source your castor oil from?
Um, probably where I source all my oils from. There's Gary and Son is a good Ayurvedic company for oils. I know Banyan's got a really good organic brand. Um, Heritage Store also has castor, where I get the rose water. There's a company called Queen of Thrones, and they have a castor oil pack company. And so they have different sizes for the neck, for the breast, for the belly, for the back. They have all these different shapes and sizes, and even for kids. And they have a really good castor oil too. And the pack is pretty great. Like it's got this flannel side, and then it's got this kind of like, I don't even know what the material is, but the oil doesn't soak through that side of it. So when you place it on, and you can kind of tie it on really nice and safely, and you can even just leave it there forever. You can lay all night in it. It doesn't get anything messy at all. It's pretty fabulous. So I've been using their packs and castor oil. So those are the kind of some of the brands I go to.
Thank you. We will be reposting this. I just added, I know some of you have said you cannot access them. So I'm going to attach these slides one more time. And while we do that, one last question. So you can have this here and you can download while that's doing. Um, oh, I thought I saw something that was interesting. Uh, practical at home, more links. Oh yeah, can these steps work for nearsighted or far-sighted vision, or are there certain techniques better for either?
I think so. They can definitely aid in treating that. But I think for farsighted, nearsighted, you want to do like more exercises, doing the tritok. There's glasses you can get that have several little teeny tiny holes in it, and those really help to strengthen the eyes and the eyesight. The Triphala eye wash is good for restoring vision. Um, But the eye exercises, so looking at something further away and bringing it close and doing things like this and semicircles and back and forth, really working the muscle of the eye. Eye bright is really good to help restore vision for sure too. But the best is just, keep them very hydrated, keep them moist, keep the eyes nourished through some of these applications of oleation, and rose water helps with inflammation. So yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much. That was very helpful. Just one note, Carrie Cooper was answering somebody's question. FYI, I had burning sensation with ghee as well, with Netru Basti, when ghee had cooled down too much. So the ghee just needed to be warmed up a little bit, is what her thought was.
Oh, interesting. Interesting.
So sorry, there are still more questions coming in, but I hope you all got access to the slides. I just re-added them to the chat, but really great participation. Thank you so much, everyone who has stayed through. I know we're way over the time, but we're also thinking about extending these to 90 minutes going forward, so that's when we can have good time for the speaker to express what they had planned for, and then we can also give chance for you to get your questions answered. But great participation again, Seva. Thank you so much. That was awesome. Awesome. There were so many new things I've learned and so many tools that I've seen, I've never seen before. And I think people are also having same response. A lot of people have already posted the same things in Q&A. But thanks everyone for all your kind words.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah, and we should definitely have another Marma session with Seva, because looks like she's also expert in that. So pretty soon. And yes, 90 minutes is great. So if you can, please stay on after you log out. There'll be a link for you to access a survey. Please post your thoughts, feedback, anything you want over there. But otherwise, you all have a great night and good evening. Thank you. Namaste.
Thank you. Bye.